Hello, everyone. Welcome to Highly Intelligent. I'm your host, Jared Martin, and today I'm joined by Love Lagoon.
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit? Tell them about what you do.
Yes, my name is I'm Love Lagoon. I'm a musician. I've been, working on a lot of alternative music. Music for me has always been a journey about healing and bringing people together. Um, when I was a kid, before I can even remember memories of anything, my father, he would have these like music festivals at our house. And when we first moved into our house that they currently reside in, um, well, he had a music festival and he had plenty of reggae artists and other people. And before I can even remember memories, what I was seeing was people together just having a good time, and what I saw was music was bringing people together.
Yeah.
So like music for me has always been, like bringing people together and having fun. So Love Lagoon is just all about that, just having fun and being yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
that's the number one thing I love to encourage.
So how long have you been making music? I mean, I know you said that you
Yeah, it's been
discovered
a
it when you were
while. I
really
mean,
young.
yeah, when I was like maybe 12 or 13, my brothers and I would just kind of like to freestyle just for fun. And eventually we felt like we ran out of beats. And I mean, this was before the time before like anybody could become like a musician. But
Yeah.
I guess like I don't want to say I pioneered it. I definitely didn't pioneer it, but I was like 12, 13, and I hopped on the laptop and I downloaded a DAW FL Studio, and I just started, making beats. And it originally started with rap, and eventually it worked its way down. I got a guitar at 16. My father bought me a guitar. He also bought me a keyboard and a microphone. And I
Nice.
really felt like, like that was the encouragement I needed. Like that was the push I needed to say like, okay, this is valid. This is something that you can do. And I mean, I don't know. I don't really need the affirm. I mean, sorry. The affirmation was really all that I needed at that point. And I started playing guitar and playing the keyboard, and I started getting, started moving away from the rap genre. But of course, that was still going within me, the energy of a beat and the way that people could all be moving to the sway of a beat.
Yeah.
That was something that was intoxicating to me. Um, Originally, I started making beats, and then I started getting all sorts of fun equipment and just having fun and branching out, experimenting a bit. And now it's a really nice sound. I like to describe it like really warm. It gives you
Yeah.
that warm energy. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
So, what have you done thus far in your career? Like,
yeah,
you've put on some shows before, so
yeah.
you wanna talk about the vibe when you're putting on a performance?
Yeah, I love the way that everyone, is smiling and just watching and having fun. When I was what was my first show? I think my first show was actually a poetry slam.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was writing mostly about like, well, at the time it was like heartbreak and just, things that I felt like I needed to talk about to get off my chest. And at the poetry slam, it was very well received. I was just kind of talking about I guess a recent heartbreak that was going on, and it was a lot of fun. I guess people loved it, and like I said, like I keep saying, like everyone was together for it. And I mean, the number one thing was that everybody got to ditch class for a
Yeah,
period just to
yeah.
go to the poetry slam, which was fun. But it started to evolve a lot. I was, bringing in the guitar and the keyboard for certain sets. I was performing at my father's music festivals. There were a lot of people when I entered college. There was a lot of people who were looking to have us put on shows. Like Ecstasy Productions, which is they were a visual audio media company from, I want to say Liberty, right, in Liberty, New York. They had us do a show at the Chance Theater. We did plenty of online shows like Wingman of the Year. Shout out Wingman of the Year. The Streaming Summer Music Festival that happened a few years ago. It was so much fun. We were recording, I believe, in my backyard. There was plenty of other artists that were there, like Skins. King Kanye was also part of it, and Mark Kanye, which was awesome. And
Solid.
yeah, I've also done, let's see, some shows. I did a show in Jamaica, which is
Oh wow,
by far,
okay.
yeah, that was one of my favorites. It was live streamed, which was cool.
How did you manage to pull that off? Were you
So
just on a vacation out there and
I mean, it was more like a visit back to the fatherland.
Oh,
My
okay.
father, he's Jamaican. He grew up in Kingston, Jamaica, on Red Hills Road, and he went to the Meadowbrook High School, and so he kept his contacts there, and eventually I think they wanted to put on some sort of a an event there, and he was
Okay.
kind of like the MC. He was the one pulling all the strings, helping put everything together. And for one of the acts, he wanted his very own Love Lagoon to go and perform. So I got to open up for Ray Goodman and Brown. Are you familiar with Ray Goodman and Brown at all?
I'm not familiar.
So Kevin Ray Owens from Ray Goodman and Brown. He's a R&B group. I want to say from the 70s and 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And fantastic music, absolutely great. So I got to open for them, which was awesome. It was an attendance of maybe about like 200 people at the high school, which is insane. Like you see
Yeah,
so many people filled up.
it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have 200 people in a room with you, it's
Right. And it felt like more like a festival. It was slightly like outdoor within their courtyard. They had like a visual board and all sorts of fun things. It was incredible. And then we've also done, shows at the Oma Gang, which is
okay.
a are you familiar with the Oma Gang?
I'm not,
Oh,
but
it's a brewery that's right out in by Cooperstown. And
oh,
it's
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They're great. They serve a lot of custom beers and everything like that.
Nice,
Yeah, it's a
nice.
real nice and intimate setting, like they have like a bonfire and everything there. I think they were doing what was it, Bonfire Fridays or something like that. I
That's
can't remember the
nice.
exact day. I think it might have been Friday or Saturday, but man, that was such a fun experience.
So, when you got into music,
Yeah.
what was the thing that made you want to like go for it and like
Hmm.
really take it seriously?
Yeah, I think it was around the time that, well, at the time it was just like kind of a hype in high school, just doing it just for the
Yeah,
fun of it.
yeah.
And I think it was about the time that I really felt alone in my own room. Just, I felt like there wasn't really anybody that I could connect with. And in high school, like, I really felt like a loner. And at some point, I was laying in my bed and I felt really emotional and I just started to just kind of sing about it, just talk about it. I was just kind of like freestyling in a way, not on any rhythm or but I was kind of freestyling just about my pain and about what I was feeling. And instantly I could feel that like tension and pressure just kind of release right off of my shoulders. And it was like at that moment that I realized, like, well, there's no reason, I mean, sorry, there's a reason why all these festivals were happening at my house and why all these people were coming together. And I felt like music was the thing that could take away stress off of people's shoulders. Music
Yeah.
was the thing that could get somebody through the day. And at that point I realized I wanted to go for it. And the thing that keeps reaffirming it, um one of my friends, Jody, he told me that the music that I released, the song that I just released, Magic Stardust, was healing. And that really actually touched my heart. It felt like the goal that I was going for all along, just to heal somebody in a way, just to bring that like warm energy, to let somebody know that you're not alone, because you're not alone. You're never alone. I wanted to remind people of that with because I felt like music was reminding me of that. The music that I listened to would always remind me that I'm never alone, and I'd always feel a lot better. So the thing that made me really go for it, the thing that keeps reaffirming it, is that music heals.
Yeah.
Music always heals.
It's got to be the greatest feeling as an artist to hear back from the people that listen to your music that it helped them through like a
Yeah,
hard
it's
time
it's
or
almost like a mix of like I almost want to say like I'm sorry in a way. I almost want to
yeah.
apologize to people that they say like I loved your song, but it's not so much like cuz I want to say like I'm sorry. I want to hug them because that means that you might have gone through something that put you in that situation to where the music like spoke to you.
Yeah.
And if you can relate, I mean that's great. You're not alone like I keep saying, but also I'm sorry, like you're in a real predicament and that must really suck. But the thing that I always want to remind people is because you're not alone, you'll be able to get through that.
Yeah.
You'll never be alone. You'll never just stop. There's never ever just going to be a moment where time just stops. Time's going to keep on flowing. And so for that, as long as you keep flowing with time, then there's never ever gonna be failure. You know, we just got to keep on moving. The drums
Definitely.
keep on playing was a quote that my father always told me. The drums
Solid.
keep on playing.
So what kind of goals do you have with your music
Yeah.
career?
Well, currently, King Konye and I we run a like a freestyle kind of workshop
Yeah.
at the Oneonta Job Corps Academy, and I'm seeing a lot of people really come out of their shell. And so like, well, music is something that always for me has brought me out of my shell. And so when it comes to shows and just music in general, I want to be able to help people. I want to heal people. I want the music that I make to be something that someone can come to when they're feeling distraught or when they're feeling down or when they're feeling like defeated, and I want them to not feel that. You know,
Yeah.
I want to start you off. I want to meet you where you are and then take you someplace better all
I
the time.
see.
And that's like my number one goal, you know?
Yeah.
It's real short term, but at the same time, I feel like it's long term because as long as, you're in for the ride, we're all going to go somewhere fun.
Yeah,
It's like a
definitely.
roller coaster, but without well, I want to say it is a rush. Yeah. It's a real fun rush. Like every time I step onto the stage, I don't feel like there's any anxiety. And I don't feel like there's
Really?
any anxiety in the crowd either. I mean, me, I don't really. I'll feel kind of jittery like right before the show, but
Okay.
then once I actually like step on stage, it's just completely gone. And at that moment, I just feel like I'm connecting with people right then and there because in the music, I want to portray honesty. I don't want to ever say something that I didn't experience. And so when I share my experience and I'm telling it in front of all these people, there was a quote that I heard. I can't remember from who, um, but they said that when they step on stage and they're looking at people, they're seeing the artist is seeing their entire life in the crowd, and the crowd is seeing their entire life on that stage.
I see.
Cause like your experience, let's say like who's your favorite artist?
Oh man. Baby No Money's the first one that comes to mind.
Baby No Money. I haven't heard of Baby No Money, but
He
I'd
he made
imagine
La La La.
La La La. How does that go?
Oh, it's the one. Did I really just forget that melody? Da 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 da.
Oh, da
When I
da da da
popped
da da.
off, then your girl gave
Yeah,
me.
just
Yeah.
yeah. I remember that one. So I know that if you went to a Baby No Money concert and you saw him live, you'd be that song, for example, and the other songs that he does that you enjoy, you would be re-experiencing what you've already experienced every time you heard that song, like in the car, at the
Yeah.
barber shop, at the mall, wherever it may be that you are. You heard that song and you experienced something to it. And when you go to that show and you see him perform that, it's like all those experiences being validated right in
Yeah.
front of you. And like, I mean, sometimes I feel when I was in high school, I never really felt like I was, I could be really validated. I didn't really have the kind of the community and the network that I have now, like so it it uh it really feels like when I'm performing and when someone's listening to my music or even when I'm just listening to music, where it's a constant cycle of reaffirming that everything's going to be okay. It's like Bob Marley, don't worry about a thing. Every
Yeah,
little thing's going to
definitely.
be all right. Yeah.
So what you mentioned you work at a dispensary now.
I do work at a dispensary. Yes, I work at Dosha in Oneonta.
How
Shout
did you
out Corey
manage
Rowe.
to land a job at a dispensary?
It's
That's
an
got to be like a
interesting
dream
story.
job.
So King Konye, he was performing at the City of the Hills Festival,
Okay.
and that's a festival that happens in Oneonta, I believe, every year, and it's just great. Like art and the community, and it's just everything is just great. It's a fun day, and he was performing, and I was actually filming for him, and I was laying on the concrete with the camera, and I was just like leaning back, just filming for him, and it was fun, and a woman who works at Otsego Media. Her name is Alyssa. Alyssa, she saw me and she like took a photo, and she contacted King Konye and she contacted me and she was asking about having us, be a part of Otsego Media. I guess because they really recognized the love and dedication that we have for ourselves and for the community and the respect that we have for those entities. And well, so I went down for an interview with Corey Rowe, who's the owner of Otsego Media, and he's also the owner of Dosha.
Okay.
So I walk into the interview, and we're just chatting about like what it is that I want to do with working with the media company. And I was actually going to work with Otsego Media in the media company. Not saying that the door isn't open, of course, Corey, but I was going to do a lot more work down there. And then Corey said, "Hey, like the reason why we moved our facility is because I'm actually opening up a dispensary." And I'm like, "Oh, that sounds cool." And he's like, "You like weed?" And I'm like, "Well, I like the idea of how weed really brings people together, and it's really it's healing.
Yeah.
Marijuana can be really healing in certain aspects. Not I'm not legally saying anything. I can't legally say anything as a bud tender. I can't make any legal affirmations. But yeah, so he's like, "Hey, do you like weed?" And I'm like, it helps people, And he's like, "Well, would you like a job as a bud tender?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I would." And so, I really started to research a lot about marijuana and everything like that, the terpenes, the way that it can help with certain ailments, whether it be mental or physical. And well, I just love the job. I'm working at Dosha. I get to talk to a lot of people about marijuana. I get to have lots of conversations about music, which is, music is why we're here.
Yeah.
And I also get to just, share positive vibes with everybody. Everybody who works at Dosha is a very, positive individual, and I feel like it's I wouldn't say it's a dream job, but it's like it's one of those jobs that just like it almost feels like a
It's
dream working there.
fulfilling.
Yeah, it is fulfilling, and it feels like a dream working there. Like it's not real. Like you help people all the time, every
Yeah.
day, and you get to see a smile on someone's face every time you help them.
So what's the process of like a customer walks in? How do you pick out the right strain to sell them?
It mostly is based on the genetic makeup of the plant, which we just we determine by terpenes. So the terpenes are what kind of affect the overall effect of what you're gonna feel from the marijuana plant. And if somebody's, I ask them, "Hey, well, what are you looking to feel today? Like, are you looking for more of a sleepy high or something, a little more energetic?" And from there, we're kind of able to narrow it down, what it is that they want and what it is that they're looking for. Some people are looking for help with sleep, help with anxiety, help with pain, and those are usually the top three things that we have. And then I just kind of list off products for them that I feel like could be, right down their alley. Some
Solid.
some people are looking to just get high, looking to get blasted, and that I can also recommend as well, which is, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun.
So outside of music and the dispensary, is there anything else that you do like hobbies wise or
Well, I've mostly been trying to get into now I don't know what the word is. Is it horticulture, botany, herbalism? I'm
I
not
think
100%
all
sure.
three of those would.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like there's a slightly a distinction, but I love the plants. I love my plants. I have like some growing lights, and I'm looking to grow like I have like a lemon tree and
Okay.
like a jade tree and a bunch of or a jade plant, whatever it is, and a bunch of, other things like cacti and stuff. And it's just a lot of fun because I sometimes feel like you can learn a lot about us as people just by looking at the plants.
I see.
Like when you bend a branch and you kind of like break the branch, or just kind of Indian burn the stem, you kind of release these calcium deposits in the plant, and it actually strengthens the plant so that it doesn't bend to the wind as much and then fall off and break the branch.
Wow.
And I almost feel like that's a metaphor for people, like the most well, I don't want to say the most broken people, but the people who have been through a lot of those snaps are usually the people that can withstand the most. And like I just feel like that's such a important thing to look at. Like we aren't as different from the plants as we think.
Yeah.
Like we as humans, we really are all natural creatures. We're animals, when it comes down to it. And I mean, one thing that I always feel is that not a lot of people really remember that. They feel like there's all sorts of ways to describe you versus me, us versus them, and it separates us. It really does. But music brings us together.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So when everyone is separated, and when everyone is, when someone is saying, you versus me, and you're different from me, we're really not. We're all the same in some way. We all wake up in the morning, and maybe we brush our teeth, we take a crap, we you go to work or do whatever it is that we do in the morning. Of course, after cleaning up and whatever, and then you come back in the day and you go to sleep. And maybe not everyone's gonna be going to work. Some people might be on the street and begging for change or whatever it may be. But those people are just the same as us. They wake up in the morning, they do their thing, and they go to sleep in the end of the day. Yeah, and I mean, well, I don't want to get, all what's the word, controversial, but religion and money and all those things really divide us.
Yeah.
And so, when you put all that aside, we really are just human. There's
Yeah.
nothing really that's different from me,
Even
you, and anyone else in this room.
even with religion, there's a lot of like overlap in terms of like
There
cuz
is, yeah.
the general idea across most world religions is to just treat your fellow man as if you would want to be
The
treated.
golden rule.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all learned that in like preschool and kindergarten, and it's like it doesn't have any religious affiliation, and that's the number one thing is as long as I recognize you and you recognize me, that's all we ever need.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna treat you the way that I want to be treated.
Definitely.
And yeah, I just feel like I also feel like music definitely it meets you where you are.
Yeah.
It's never gonna be the thing that's gonna tell you you're wrong. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and music definitely won't treat you. The microphone is the number one thing I always tell to my friends. The microphone listens, the microphone never judges.
Yeah.
And so that's
Paper does the same thing
yeah.
for those who write.
Yes, yes. When you're writing, when you're on the canvas, the only one who's judging is yourself. And that's a Tame Impala quote. The only one who's really judging you is yourself. I love Tame Impala. Yeah. The microphone doesn't judge, the pen and paper doesn't judge, the sketch pad, the canvas does not judge.
So when
yeah.
you're making a new song, what's your process? Do you want to bring me through that?
Lately it's ever expanding and changing. I get all sorts of like new equipment, and lately I got like a drum machine and a bunch of new synthesizers, and I just been hooking them up. And my process mostly, I'll record. It always started because I was a producer originally. I always started with the instrumental first, but sometimes, like if I have like this melody in my head for a vocal, I'll sing that, and I'll just kind of follow the feeling of what it is that has to come next. I feel like there's like it's almost like a cosmic truth. Like it's a weird kind of simile, but like Michael Jackson would say that his music was like kind of God given in a way, like God gave him the lyrics. And I'm not particularly religious, but I do feel like there's a higher energy that kind of just like, determines what that song is gonna be
Yeah.
before you even have a chance to put it out yourself. And once you start doing pen to paper or microphone to or vocals to microphone, fingers to instruments, it kind of has its like it kind of fleshes itself out in a way.
Yeah.
So I like to lately I've been jamming with a lot of friends, King Konye and a lot of my friends from Dosha, and I'm really intoxicated by this like jam kind of vibe. Like I really love Pink Floyd, and I always felt like they were kind of like jamming around each other, and there
I
was
feel
this
like Nirvana's the same way as well.
they're all like there, like someone puts something in, and then everyone's kind of like putting in these parts, and when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, everyone coming together, it just forms like this big ball of energy that is the music that you're hearing.
Yeah.
And I just become intoxicated with this the way that we're all kind of jamming around each other. And so when I'm by myself, and when I'm feeling alone, and when I'm feeling defeated, I will hop onto the keyboard or the drum machine, and the drum machine becomes my drummer. That's me number one. And then the keys become me number two. Maybe I'll set like a drone, and then I'll play the guitar or perhaps like a groovy bass line over it. And now I've already got 4 people in the room with me.
Solid.
You know what I mean? So yeah, like I like to think of it almost like a band playing together.
Yeah, when you first introduced yourself to me, you said that you founded Love Lagoon,
Yes.
which when referring to yourself as an artist, you would normally address yourself as Love Lagoon, but
Right.
I feel like the way that you addressed it, you're more of like a one-man band
Yeah.
rather than a one-man artist.
It kind of feels like when I hop on a drum machine, I'm channeling my inner self from when I was like 14 or 13 and I was making beats. And then when I'm hopping on instruments like the guitar, that's me at 16. And then when I hop on the keys, that's just like me, like kind of all over the place, like I feel like I'm channeling my inner child in a way, that inner exuberance that we all try to get back to whenever I'm working on music. And that's me at my most playful. I really love it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man.
So where would you want to be with music?
Yeah.
Like if you got everything you wanted.
If I had everything I wanted, ideally, then the people who listen to my music would hopefully still be following. But on top of that, I'd probably be still, doing it for the people, I feel. Although it feels like whenever I'm recording my own experiences, it sounds like it could be for me, but if I'm healing myself and I feel that I can get something off of my chest just by saying it, then I feel like that energy of what I put into it can be transferred into that other individual who's listening to it. And so in the future, I'm just hoping that, or rather, I aim it that I can heal people with the music,
I
and that
see.
I'll be on stages or even just on the street,
You seem
and yeah.
pretty fulfilled as you are right now. Is there anything that you are striving towards at the moment, or do you have any?
I'm currently in a master's program at Berkeley, an online master's program,
Okay,
and
that's quite the school.
yeah, no, it really is. Yeah, I feel like I'm learning a lot just off of day one, and the number one thing I learned was that I gotta like chill out a little bit. Like I can be real all over the place. I mean, you guys see me with my sweater and everything. I can be real all over the place sometimes, and I realize, I gotta kind of like chill out and just focus myself a little
Yeah,
bit.
I
Um,
definitely struggle with that myself.
yeah, dude, it can be
Having
so
the
hard.
one track mind when I've got a whole bunch of other things going on that I
Yeah,
want to do.
I swear I need to get tested for like ADD or something like that because I'm just all over the place. But one of the programs was a film score
Okay.
program or film score like a bunch of classes within the inter disciplinary program, and I feel like the way that I'm working with synthesizers and drum machines, like I always have this notion that music can really evoke an emotion,
Yeah.
and like when you're watching films that like they'll have such like the simple chord progressions, but something that just makes you feel so like in the moment with the movie,
Yeah.
like whatever movie it may be. There's
Horror
like
movies are great for
yeah,
that.
they
Just like
really
the
are.
slow piano build in the
Yeah,
background.
that sound design is incredible. Like action movies too. Like yeah, that sound design. So I mean, I would love to do whether it be either some sound design or movie scoring because I just feel like I really want to evoke the emotion, and
Yeah.
just have it. I always felt like bringing it to the top was the way to like expel the demon in a way. Like if you have it's almost kind of I don't even know the word for it, but if you have an emotion and you're feeling just like in your core you felt distraught, we could use like this music to channel the emotion right out of you, bring it to the top, and then you'd be crying at that point. I feel, but then afterwards you'd feel good.
Yeah.
You feel good, and music. I like I said, I want to meet you where you are and then take you somewhere better and make you feel good at the end.
Is that how you describe your music as well?
Yeah, it's I mean like I've been all over the place trying to figure out what to call it, alternative, psychedelic, pop, rock, and it really is a culmination of all those things, whatever I'm feeling at the moment. It's really like an alternative pop kind of feel. And well with pop music, you always well, not always, but you usually are trying to make people feel good and
Yeah.
well pop can be really shallow sometimes, but I feel like there's an avenue in which even if it is shallow, it's like, well, let's just celebrate that. It's okay to be happy even if it's, like even if even if it's I guess shallow, the element of pop that really brings people together is the fact that it's so relatable. And
Definitely.
yeah, and the relatability of any pop song will determine its success. And I really just want the emotion that I feel, even though I always felt like a loner in a way and I felt like I really couldn't connect with people, at least like the emotions that I feel are still the same that other people feel. Like other people feel the same emotions as me. And obviously that's obvious, that's true. But like I said before, like we're all the same, like you're a human and I'm a human. We all feel the
Yeah.
same emotions. And even if I felt like I couldn't connect with people when I was young, that wasn't actually true. I was connecting with people all the time, and the music that I'm making now is connecting with people, and I aim for that to continue. Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah.
4% on this camera.
Okay,
It might be
we
wrap
could
up
wrap
this
up time.
this
Yeah,
angle. Okay,
yeah.
that camera cut.
Okay.
Okay, 3%.
So is that a
No, can you just like last question, whatever? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, is there anything you wanted to talk about that
Sure.
I missed?
Well, there was a song that I've been working on for the past 4 years. 4 years, and um, I, I know that that song will be coming soon to
That's
fruition.
a long time to be working on a
It
song.
has. It was, I felt defeated whenever I was trying to make it. The person I was writing it about, it's called "You're Always on My Mind." It's a breakup song.
I
I've
see.
performed it live a couple times. The person I wrote it about actually told me they didn't want to see me get beat up after a show because of the way that my voice sounds. They don't like the sound of my voice. I went ahead and like took singing lessons and all that stuff. I guess I was a bit insecure, but you know, I wrote that song about them, and every time I tried to come back to it, I always felt defeated until one day I found myself like in the same kind of slump over and over again of just feeling defeated, and I'm like, no, no more. I'm going to finish the song. And sure enough, I came back to it, and that was like the centerpiece behind this whole album that I'm working on. So I guess the number one thing I want to say is the album is coming soon. New music is coming soon, and well, if you feel like you can relate to it, I'm sorry, but also you're not alone.